Welcome to the elementary slides regarding successful transitions along the literacy continuum. Please make sure you have already viewed the introduction segment for this professional development session. The transition from preschool to kindergarten can be an upsetting and confusing time for young children and their families. Parents have questions and concerns about the full-day programs, riding the bus, becoming more independent, and the new and seemingly unrealistic expectations for kindergarten. Many children also experience a full day of school for the first time and face new responsibilities, less time for play, and an increased focus on reading, writing, mathematics, and other academic areas. What factors of a child's early life would predict how successful a child would be in kindergarten? As a table group, brainstorm a list of factors that you believe would predict how successful a child would be in kindergarten. Have each table group share ideas. You might want to pause the webcast at this time. The number of books in a home provides a direct correlation to a school achievement. 61% of low-income families have no books at all in their homes for their children. In middle-income neighborhoods, the ratio of age-appropriate books per child is 13 to 1, 13 books for every one child. In a low-income neighborhood, the ratio is 1 to 300, 1 book for every 300 children. Another factor is the level of language development for children entering kindergarten. For more information regarding this topic, please refer to the third KtO Building Blocks webcast. Research indicates that 52% of the children entering kindergarten successfully transition into school. Is a success rate of 52% adequate? What can we do to change this trajectory for our students? It is important for early childhood educators to consider the stress for children and families associated with entering a more structured environment. What are the implications for us? How can you gather these data for your program? What is the impact of transition on the children, families, schools, and communities? Let's take a look at each group to identify the observable and measurable impacts of a successful transition. The impact of transition on all kindergartners is a change in place, new expectations and student role, adjusting to a new peer group, new relationships with adults and authority figures. The impact of transition on well-transitioned and supported kindergartners is increased self-confidence and motivation, improved relations with other children, openness to new experiences, early school success. The impact of transition on well-transitioned and supported parents is increased confidence that their children will succeed, a sense that teachers understand their child's needs, a sense of pride and commitment in ongoing involvement, confidence in their influence on the education system. The impact of transition on well-transitioned and supported teachers and schools are increased knowledge of the children and ability to meet their individual needs, increased parental and community support, more resources and larger network of support, awareness of early childhood and family support services available in the community, professionalism and pride in their efforts to reach out to young children. The impact of transition on a well-transitioned and supported community is healthier children and families receiving support services faster, increased amount of children ready for school, increased number of students completing school. Did you know, nationally every year 1 in 10 kindergarten and first grade students misses a month of school with excused and unexcused absences? Of those chronically absent in kindergarten, only 17% are reading at grade level in the 3rd grade. Even when teachers take the role daily, the data they collect is not typically analyzed to reveal chronic absence patterns. Rather, most schools measure school-wide attendance or they track truancy, which doesn't capture excused absences. These patterns begin early and impact student achievement. School is a place away from home, where a child will have some of his or her greatest challenges, successes, failures, and embarrassments. Because school is beyond the control of parents, it can be stressful for both the child and the parents. A study investigated which factors children, parents, and teachers considered important in the transition to kindergarten. They were knowledge, ideas, facts, or concepts that children know, for example, the ability to identify numbers and letters. Social adjustment to the school context, for example, knowing how to interact with a large group of children or responding appropriately to the teacher. Skills. Examples might be tying shoelaces and holding a pencil appropriately. Disposition would be defined as attitudes towards school. Rules, the expectations of behavior and action. Physical attributes or characteristics, such as age and general health. Family issues, meaning family interactions with the school and changes to family life brought about by a child starting school. An education environment, what happens at school. School readiness or ready schools. There is a difference between having a child ready for school and the school being ready for the child. School readiness is defined as a set of skills that predicts how successful a child will be in kindergarten. Ready schools refers to the school's ability to respond to the needs and experiences of the young child and his family as he makes the transition into school. What is the likelihood of being ready for school at age 5? In terms of their early skills, behavior, and health, fewer than half, 48% of low-income children are ready for school at age 5, compared to 75% of children from families with moderate and high income, a 27 percentage point gap. What are the implications for the children entering your kindergarten? School readiness has effects beyond the first few months of kindergarten. Children with higher levels of school readiness at age 5 are generally more successful in grade school, are less likely to drop out of high school, and earn more as adults, even after adjusting for differences in family background. A ready school is one that provides developmentally appropriate learning experiences for children designed to meet the instructional and developmental levels of each child. Ready schools support professional development for all those who interact with children. This aspect also includes the family and their involvement in the education of their child. Ready schools advocate for families to receive the necessary support they need from the community in the form of services and resources. Transition is not a once and done or a one-size-fits-all. One orientation meeting is not sufficient to meet the various aspects of all children and families. It is important to consider the needs of the families and children within your area and design a variety of options. Transition efforts occur numerous times throughout the year. Remember that it is not just the child who makes the transition. It is a process in which the child, the family, the school, and the community interrelate over time. When preschoolers transition to kindergarten, families experience a transition as well. Remember that a family may not be a mother and father. Be sensitive and make the effort to understand who is included in the child's family and who has educational rights. Teachers can use these three approaches to help families make a successful transition to kindergarten. Number 1, develop partnerships. Number 2, foster ongoing communication. And finally, have an open door policy. Characteristics of effective family and community connections with the school program. The staff in the school deliberately create a culture of trusting and collaborative relationships between families, community members, and school staff. Schools gain a better understanding and respect for families by recognizing their needs and class and cultural differences. Schools must also involve all stakeholders in a shared partnership of mutual responsibility for student learning. Many people have a key role to play in making the transition to school a positive experience. Researchers have formulated a set of guidelines for school programs that we believe promote effective transition. Such programs include establishing positive relationships among the children, parents, and educators. Facilitate each student's development as a capable learner. Develop long-term, individualized transition to school programs, not just short-term orientation sessions. Have dedicated, adequate funding and resources. Involve a range of stakeholders. They are well planned and evaluated. They are flexible and responsive. They are based on mutual trust and respect. They rely on reciprocal communication among participants, and they take into account the context of the community and its individual families and children. The principal is an influential part of the transition process. They are the liaisons to the community, the champions of the homeschool partnerships, the leaders of instructional change, and the administrators of effective policies. Each of these roles is critical for enabling young children's successful kindergarten transitions. It is ultimately the principal who is best funded and most powerful in leading the transition process. Effective school research attaches great significance to the principal's role in any type of change. Principals can begin by reconfiguring their own understanding of their roles in maximizing successful transitions into kindergarten. If principals do not recognize an issue as significant, they are unlikely to extend their leadership efforts towards kindergarten transition. Research suggests that children who make a smooth transition and experience early school success tend to maintain higher levels of social competence and academic achievement. The entrance into school, typically in kindergarten, is important for students, families, and of course schools. This transition requires our time and attention. Do you believe that children and families successfully transition into your school? What activities do you have in place? Pause at this time to discuss these questions with your group. This concludes the elementary slides regarding successful transitions on the literacy continuum.